Found out the guy the first asked out is trans. Edit. The general advice I received was just to be cool and address my concerns. And above all, to treat him like any other man. Thank you everyone. I feel calmer now. I guess I was freaking out because I haven't dated in a few years and it was very new. I will update you all on how it went tomorrow. I'm on mobile, so I'm sorry if anything is weird with the formatting. TLDR at the bottom. I'm 23F. Doing my master's. The other day I was at the school when I saw this guy. 20M. Smoking by a trash can. Guys. He's so cute. He's short. Shorter than me by a few inches. But I truly don't mind, and he's got amazing hair and a really nice smile. Anyway, I decided why not shoot my shot? So I went over to him. I asked him out and he said yes, and we exchanged numbers before he had to make it to his next class. I was ecstatic. We scheduled a date for tomorrow and started texting, and he's just the funniest guy the first ever met in. He's so nice. Anyway, the thing is, yesterday he messaged me while we were talking again and he told me this. Listen, I really love that you're interested in me because I honestly think you're great. But it's really important that you know something before we go on that date. I'm trans. And in case it's not clear what I mean, I'm a man. But I haven't had any surgeries or anything yet. And even if I had, I just think it wouldn't be fair for me to keep this from you. I understand completely if you want to cancel our date. And in that case, I hope we can still hang out as friends. I have many LGBT friends. But I myself am a cis straight girl. Honestly, it's not that anything about his body makes me uncomfortable. I told him I still wanted to go because I feel a real connection here. But I'm really scared I'm gonna say something wrong. Is there anything I should or shouldn't do? What if I accidentally hurt him? I haven't dated in a while and I'm honestly scared. How can I make him feel comfortable? Like I said, we're going out tomorrow and I just really don't want to ruin this. TLDR. Asked a guy out. He told me he's trans. I'm nervous about screwing up at our date tomorrow. Treat him like any other guy. When in doubt, ask him directly. Not all trans people are the same, and what offends someone might not offend someone else. Also, do not tell anyone he's trans if you're not 150% sure it's okay. You asked him and he told you you can. It's his choice, not yours. And if the wrong person knows someone is trans, things could even get dangerous. As a trans person, the fact that you respect him and want to do right speaks volumes. Let him know how you feel, how you're nervous and new to this. And he should be happy to help out. But really, he's just a guy. Try not to get too into your head about it. But again, the fact that you're trying means so much, and any mistakes you may make will be much more easily forgiven as long as you try to learn from them. One specific tip I can give is don't over-apologize. You might slip up a fair amount. And apologizing every time might get tiresome for both of you. You can correct yourself and move on without making a fuss. Or even just tell yourself inwardly to not do it again. No advice to give, but I really hope it goes well. Honestly, the best thing you can do is treat him like a man. Not man light, you know? Congrats on the connection. I hope your date goes well. Be honest and treat him with the same respect you'd want him to give you. It's a serious green flag that he came out to you before anything remotely intimate cropped up. He seems like the kind of guy who's understanding and will respectfully correct any missteps. Just don't overthink it. He's no better or worse a guy because he's trans. And I hope things work out. Just be truthful. I think the fact they told you they were trans means you can be open and honest yourself about the date. Have fun and have a laugh about it. Hey, I'm a gay lady in love and dating a wonderful woman who is also trans. My advice is just communicate. Talk about everything. Ask for consent and don't assume you can touch everything unless you have consent. In particular, ask for consent before touching areas he may want surgery later, like his chest. We should be like this in every instance. If he ends up as someone in your life, you can always check out My Partner is Trans for info as the partner. You can save yourself a lot of trouble and hassle and just tell him this. Literally. Say, I'm not uncomfortable and there's nothing going on with your body that bothers me or that I'm even thinking about. But this is new and I'm worried about saying and doing the wrong thing, and if I do, I'm sorry and I feel awful and it wasn't on purpose. Trans people are, by and large, super accommodating of people trying to get it right. Ignorance is fine. Prejudice is not. If you don't know the right way to say something, ask, and you'll be fine. Kudos to you, for the record, for not letting that be a hurdle or obstacle in getting to know someone you like. That's classy and it sets a great example. Tell him up front that, while you are totally supportive, you have never dated someone before who is not cis and that you're worried about putting your foot in your mouth. Somehow. Explain that you know it's not his job to educate you, but that you truly want to know if you screw up. Otherwise, the usual dating advice holds: be yourself. Ask about hobbies, interests, favorite books, movies, etc. If he's paying for the meal, ask him what sounds good before ordering and choose that or something that is near or below the price of his suggestion. Limit yourself to 2 alcoholic beverages. Nervousness and alcohol can be a terrible combination even if you usually hold your liquor very well. Have a wonderful time. But I'm really scared I'm gonna say something wrong? Is there anything I should or shouldn't do? What if I accidentally hurt him? If you're this worried, I'd shoot your shot. Let's say you make a mistake and use the wrong pronoun or something. He'll correct you and that's that. If he cannot accept you for making honest mistakes, then it's better for both of you to split up. But you're never going to get together if you don't ask first unless he asks you. I have a friend who I always misgendered early on when I knew them. But she knew it was a mistake. Corrected me each time and we're still friends. She's a bitch, so if I actually had offended her I would absolutely know it. One risk on dates with someone who is LGBTQ is that you end up talking too much about their sexual history, identity on the first case. Not to say you have to avoid acknowledging it entirely. I think it's fine to admit you have never dated a trans person before. But just focus on getting to know them and emotional chemistry for a first date like you would on any first date. Of course, on later dates, when you get to the comfort zone level you would normally consider sex, then it's okay to start asking what sex is to them. Maybe he only wants to wear a strap-on and have very heteronormative sex and doesn't even want you to touch his actual parts. Or maybe he does enjoy being touched. That might later also impact your compatibility and ability to enjoy sex. But everyone has quirks and deal breakers in the bedroom that aren't discussed on the first date. But you find out later on. Or you might discover you enjoy something you never thought you would. And maybe you decide not to go forward with sex or realize it's not that great. But TBH, that could happen for lots of reasons. Also note, nothing about your sexual orientation would change if you dated him. You are still considered straight if you are a female dating cis or hetero men. And it would be offensive to imply you are having a sexual orientation crisis because you are attracted to him. From a trans guy, just treat him like you would any other man. Don't overthink it too much. From my small amount of experience with the trans community. And please anyone correct me if I'm wrong. But they appreciate when you ask them things to better understand what they're about. What may or may not offend, etc. And just like anyone else, what may be perfectly fine with one person could really hurt another. So ask about anything up front before making mistakes. Best of luck. Treat him exactly how you would have if you never would have known he was trans. Tell him that you identify as straight and you're interested in dating him, but you're a little nervous about possibly offending him somehow. If he's a good guy, he will be understanding and explain his comfort levels about things or whatever. And then you two can just move forward. I love the kindness and support in this thread. Especially impressed with your wholesome, genuine enthusiasm about your date. Hope you are floating on air after it's over, hugging face. You're very sweet to be worried about this. I'd be upfront at the start and say that you fully see him as a man and you're supportive of the LGBTQ+ community. But you want to acknowledge that you might not say everything correctly. Say that you would never intentionally say something bigoted, discriminatory, or transphobic. But if you do use incorrect language or say something that sounds off to him, he can and should let you know. And yes, echoing what others have said, and do not out him by telling others he is trans. Especially in the grad student, professional world. I'm not sure what field you are in, but depending on how open-minded people are, and crucially, if there's any travel involved in the position, being out as trans can be a really precarious and even dangerous thing. I've got friends who were nearly outed, and if they had been, would have been unable to continue with their field work because the places they'd need to travel would arrest them for who they are. Honestly, just showing you care and are being thoughtful goes a long way. My GF is trans and has always been fine when I ask any questions. She knows I mean well. I'd start small and make things more about him than his gender. And then you'll build trust where you can talk about deeper subjects. It's really helpful to learn about their experience, their boundaries, etc., and really show compassion. You're a darling. I was really worried this was going to be an awful post, but it's actually wholesome AF. I hope you two work out less than 3. Have a great date. I'm not trans, but I do want to point out your question is, how do I not screw up? And not, how do I get out of this date without seeming transphobic? That speaks to your good intent. So while I can't advise you on what to do, I will say be kind to yourself. Your heart is in a wonderful place. And I would imagine that will show through more than anything. I'm a trans guy. I would prefer someone be honest with me. Just in general. For example, from what you've said above, I haven't dated a trans person before. And I'm scared I'm going to say something wrong. And from there convey that you're open to feedback when you do say something wrong. Ultimately, if you're able to accept feedback and shift, I think it's pretty easy to get to know someone who has a different life experience from you. Or you could just allow yourself to be excited to get to know someone different from you. And find more ways to build on the connection you already feel.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.